Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Earth Growing Together. I'm Roger Hanson, your host, today with my panel Bob Dub, Mark Edworthy, Robert Hanson, my brother, and our new guest to the show, B, from mysterious lands unknown near Rockford,
Yeah,
Chicago.
I'm just a guy from around the way. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
there we go. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to get started off with the weather, talking about the weather, and I'm going to try to keep my portion to about 7 8 minutes. I'm been trying to do that, I want to do that so that we can open it up to everybody and talk about how the weather is going in their neck of the woods. Um, so today we're going to start the first segment out. This is weather around the world. Weather this week. The big story this week has been a change from the hotter conditions into somewhat cool weather, although humidity and thunderstorms are still part of the picture. For West Frankfort, where I'm living, the current outlook has temperatures generally staying in the 80s, with nighttime temperatures dropping into the 60s. The important, all right, thunderstorms remain possible, particularly around the next several days. The important gardening point isn't simply weather, it's hot or cold. It's the combination of temperature, humidity, rainfall, and sunlight. Gardening doesn't experience no, the garden doesn't experience the weather as a single number on a thermometer. It's experiencing heat, moisture, sunlight, humidity, and wind all at the same time. Recent local precipitation data shows that West Frankfort has received measurable rain several times during the past week. The local weather record available August the 18th showed August the 18th at 0.02 inches, August the 17th at zero point 0.10 inches, August the 16th at 0.25 inches, and August the 15th at 0.15 inches. August the 14th about 0.19 inches. The total roughly was 0.71 inches from August the 14th to the 18th alone. That's significant for the garden because we're coming off a complete dry period. We've had enough rain this week that watering the garden shouldn't be something we decide by looking at the surface of the soil alone. How deep did the water actually penetrate is the question. A light shower can make the surface look wet without providing much moisture deeper in the root zone, while a heavier storm can saturate the soil. The week has also had a noticeable temperature range. For example, the local weather record showed approximately 78 degree Fahrenheit high for August the 14th, an 81 degree Fahrenheit high for August the 15th, an 85 degree Fahrenheit for August the 16th, and 79 degrees Fahrenheit for the 17th and the 18th. So there was a warm stretch followed by cooler conditions, and that's something gardeners can actually observe. Now, Robert, did you notice the plants having different, acting differently when you went out for those hotter days? Especially from the hotter days when they went into the colder weather.
Well, they
You got to unmute.
they just didn't have like the good color to it. Looked like they got uh, burnt
Burnt.
a little bit. Yeah, from going from one temperature to another quickly.
All right. That's what I was wondering if you saw like wilting or like new growth.
Like right now, I see in some trees there's bare spots in it.
Now, I noticed a lot of insect activity too. We've been having a lot of different insects, and I do want to point something out to apologize to you guys too, because we've been having a conversation about fireflies, and I do want to say that I've been mixing fireflies up with dragonflies. Here, I've never used the term firefly. I've always used lightning bug as a term for what they're talking about. So, like when they were saying fireflies, I was for some reason thinking dragonflies. But
You got some country boy.
yeah,
Yeah. I grew up calling them lightning bugs too.
yeah. So now changes in gardening. Okay, this is where I make the whole thing personal. Basically, when it comes to our show, I don't think a lot of people do this, so I'm going to incorporate that. Now, by late August, the garden is transitioning from rapid summer growth toward production and harvest. You're beginning to see more emphasis on fruit, like tomatoes, peppers, squash, cucumbers, and other crops that are now less establishing in themselves and more about producing and finishing crops. Some plants that looked smaller earlier in the season may now be occupying considerably more space. This is a good time to look at vines, trellises, supports, crowded plants, overgrown areas, and shading. Some early summer flowers are fading, while late summer and early fall flowers are beginning to become increasingly important. There's actually quite a bit happening in Illinois gardens and natural areas right now. Illinois Extension's current native plant information identifies a number of plants that bloom during this part of the summer. You have the bee balm, which is the Monarda. Now, the Illinois Extension just featured spotted bee balm on August the 7th, noting that it's currently noticeable and blooming. Then you have the coneflowers. Purple and orange coneflowers are important late summer flowers and attract pollinators. Several species bloom through August into September. You have the Joby weed, which is a major late summer nectar source. Then you have the black eye Susans, or the I always have a hard time saying this, the Rudbeckia. Now these can continue providing bright flowers well into the late summer period. After that, we have the milkweed. Several Illinois milkweeds bloom into August, and we're starting to move towards the fall blooming plants. Illinois Extension specifically identified several asters as August through fall bloomers. Now, something interesting is happening in the garden right now as well. We're moving towards the end of summer, but the garden isn't shutting down. It's changing. Some plants are finishing their blooms, others are just getting started. Pollinators are still working. Birds are beginning their seasonal changes, and we're getting closer to the fall migration. Garden is changing gear. So that will bring us into the whole subject of butterflies. This is a really good time of year to watch butterflies in southern Illinois. Illinois has roughly 100 butterfly species, and August is still very much part of the summer butterfly season. Native flowers such as coneflowers black-eyed Susans, milkweed, and asters, as well as Joe Pye weed provide nectar, while plants such as milkweed provide habitats for caterpillars. There's also a particularly interesting seasonal development happening now. Monarch migration is approaching. Now, the Illinois DNR held a Monarch's Journey program in southern Illinois on August the 8th, specifically covering monarch migration, life cycle, and conservation. So our butterfly watch is getting interesting this year, this time of the year. We're still seeing plenty of summer butterfly activity, but we're also getting closer to one of the great events of the year, the monarch migration. So if you've got milkweed, coneflowers, black-eye Susans, or other flowering plants around your property, take a look. You might be seeing more than just a pretty butterfly. You may be watching part of a much larger migration.
Well, like the honeysuckle.
Mike, I actually have a good question for you, Robert. Have you noticed any difference in the number or types of butterflies around the garden or around the yard, even when it compared to compared to earlier in the summer?
No, not really. Well, it depends on the type of time of day it is.
Okay. So before we go on, I wanted to just kind of like stop for a second and ask everybody, because I'm trying to keep this down to 8 minutes. We've gone already to 10, 11 minutes on this. So you guys want to tell everybody what's going on in your neck of the woods when it comes to weather? I'll start out with Bob Dub if you want to.
Okay. So today the high is going to be 58 degrees. It's very calm. We've got southwesterly winds at 10 miles an hour and about a 6% chance of precipitation. Our sunrise at the moment is at 10 to 7 in the morning, and sunset is 5:45 at night. And for the next week, luckily, we're not going to have too much rain. It should be raining on Sunday. We should have a 93% chance of rain on Sunday, but next week, thank goodness, we're going to have a little bit of a break from the rain. So cold, wet, miserable, and dark, pretty much.
Oh man. Wintertime in Australia right now, so
New Zealand.
Or New Zealand, sorry. I apologize.
Australia is mostly desert. Most of Australia is desert.
Well,
So it's just this cold little wet island here.
how about you, Mark? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
It was sunny and warm up till Monday. So from Saturday to Monday, meaning highs 27, so 80, 28, about 80 Fahrenheit. It's just starting to. Over the last couple of days, I've noticed that it started to rain or spit or lightly rain. But judging from the forecast, I am seeing this week from Tuesday to the end of its records, which is Thursday the week after, it's going to be raining 22, 19, 17. But it's been sort of, it's cooled down quite a bit in the last 2-3 days. But yeah, I can't give you precipitation numbers, afraid, but yeah.
All right. How about you, V? What's going on up there?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Are you hot? Are you cold? Is it? Are you sweating?
well, so the thing is, like, I'm gonna say this. I've been everywhere around the world, and especially all around the country. And I even lived in Miami. Now, where I am next to Chicago over here, this is the most humid weather I've ever experienced in my life. Like I'd be clean, fresh, showered up, and just. And the moment I step outside, there's like this. It almost feels like slime all over me. And I'm starting to sweat, and it's just like, oh, no, I sweat naturally. Like I can't control my body temperature, right? I have medical conditions, but there's no excuse for this. This humidity, it's insane. I realize I'm next to the Great Lakes over here, but the humidity is like always 100%. So today, actually, the sun's come out today. It's been fairly cloudy the past few days, and raining, in late, or actually the early AM, and which has been nice. It's cooled down. I definitely appreciate the cool down, but still way too humid. I've got so like those wooden floors are like fake wooden floors. They have like little wood like looking film over the floors.
Yeah.
Well, all those are peeling up on all the corners. It's so humid. I don't know why the landlord would put that kind of stuff down as flooring, because between each piece of quote unquote wood, all the corners are just peeling upwards. So yeah, not a good thing.
It's funny that you said.
Go ahead.
He's cutting out. You're cutting out.
That
Hold
I'm
on.
sitting on, because the hot heat. The
Oh,
got
you're breaking up, brother.
sort of leveling off.
Start over.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because it's been so hot over 32, 34 degrees centigrade, the lever on the arms of this chair is cracking up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, like the humidity, I'll even go even further. So, where I have my pillow, so I have my bed in my bedroom. My bed's in the corner, and it's my pillow will I need support for my neck. I don't have a headboard. So where the wall is, where my pillow is, like where I'll usually have my hand or stuff like that, the paint has folded up like like you have slightly melted cheese.
Mm-hmm.
It's like folded up like that in a circular spot because of the humidity in my body form.
Amazing. So now getting back to finishing off the first section, I'm going to try to get this done and real quick because we have a limited amount of time today. So let me continue with the whole part of this section. So with that, I'm going to get back to the fireflies. Now, the fireflies are an interesting one because we're moving towards the end of their high visible summer display rather than the beginning. So Illinois Extension says the coming Big Dipper firefly generally emerges around early June, and adult fireflies live only for a few weeks. Now, the majority of their lives are actually spent as larvae in soil and leaf litter, where they eat worms, snails, slugs, and other small organisms. That is an interesting thing because fireflies are now another thing that we should be watching right now. But there's actually a twist to it. Like I was saying, whenever we see those flashing lights in the summer, we're seeing only like a tiny part of the firefly's life. Most of its life is actually spent down in the soil, and leaf litter as larvae, and that connects perfectly
How
with
long?
what
How
we're
long
going to be
does
talking about, huh?
how long does it take for a firefly to fully develop? How long does it take for a firefly to fully develop?
It takes well, they start out usually right around the beginning of the summertime, and then by the time they get around to the August time, right now around August, maybe the beginnings of September, that's when they're fully developed, most of them. So like if you're paying attention and you
And
go
what
outside and you have them, you'll see them like literally coming out, like your entire backyard will be full of nothing but fireflies.
Oh yeah, I took a couple pictures because in my backyard there's like massive trees, and with the fireflies, it is, I swear it was like Christmas time because there's so many of these firebugs that the trees were just basically lit up like Christmas trees.
Yeah, it's
I've
beautiful.
never experienced that anywhere else.
Now, another thing I had to say is now look down, okay? After the rain and water weather, the forest floor can suddenly seem to come alive with mushrooms. And mushrooms aren't simply something we find in the woods and wonder whether they're edible, okay? Um, you have fungi that are actually decomposers. They're part of the process that takes dead material and returns nutrients to the ecosystems. But when I mention that, I also want to make an important warning to the viewers. I'm not encouraging viewers to eat wild mushrooms based on like photographs or a television discussion or anything like that. Identification needs to be certain before you decide to eat a mushroom. I'm just saying, if you're interested in it, besides fireflies, you're going to also have mushrooms that are sprouting up, which is pretty cool too. Now, the birds is another thing that's pretty cool. This is where the time of year is really, really good when it comes to hummingbirds. This is one of the most interesting categories this week. We're entering a period when some Illinois birds begin their fall migration, and the Illinois DNR lists August as the beginning of fall migration for several species, actually. For example, there's the ruby-throated hummingbird, which begins moving through Illinois in August. You have the great crested flycatchers, which begin fall migration in August as well. After that, you have the Cooper's hawks, which begin fall migration in August. There's the red-shouldered hawks as well, and they again migrate in August. Then you have what's called the bobolinks, and they begin appearing in Illinois during a southbound migration around mid-August. So that would be actually right around now. Some black-crowned night herons begin arriving in Illinois as fall migrates during August as well. So this is a great time to start paying attention to birds that weren't necessarily...
Oh, ornithology, huh?
Yep, they weren't necessarily obvious early this summer, but you'll start seeing them. If you've been listening to the birds around your house, don't assume that what you're hearing today is exactly what you'll hear a month from now. August is when the bird world starts changing. Some birds are finishing up their breeding season, while others are beginning their journey south. And here in southern Illinois, we're right in the path of that movement.
Well, I'm not an ornithologist, but I have been paying attention to some of the plant life here, and I've been eating blackberries from the trees here. Well, you guys call them mulberries.
No, I call them blackberries too.
Okay. Well, up here they call them mulberries. And what's funny is my landlord lives on Mulberry Street, and he has a full backyard of nothing but mulberry trees. And yeah, I'll go and collect a bucket or two.
That's what we're famous for in Illinois. The blackberries is mulberries that they have them, or they used to have them everywhere. So that's actually a treasure. Keep a hold of that.
Yeah.
That
That's
and
the only thing. That's the only leaf that the silkworm will eat is the leaf of the mulberry tree.
That's so cool.
It's very cool. Did you used to keep silkworms when you were little? Did you ever have a shoebox full of silkworms?
I've never had silkworms available.
Whoa! Your childhood.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yes, it
It's
is.
just
I'm so
horrible.
sorry.
I
Do
would
it
agree.
now. Catch up on it. You have to have a box of silkworms.
Now, here's the cool one, though, and this is where Robert was coming up with. Okay, if you're in Illinois, especially you, V, since you're up there, watch your hummingbird feeders. If you've got one around you, watch them, okay? Because
Well-
the ruby-throated hummingbirds are beginning their southward movement through Illinois right now.
Well, my landlord says if it doesn't pay rent, it's not allowed on the property.
You just keep an eye on your neighborhood. If you see any bird feeders, you'll definitely notice them. They love to go to bird feeders. If you got neighbors down the street who has one, keep an eye on it whenever you go by them.
on
My,
top of
my
that,
house is fully fumigated, and just like it's anti-life here as far as anything with that's concerned. My landlord, so there's a gopher. We have a gopher in the backyard. My landlord comes like every few days and tries a new technique of trying to kill it. It's hilarious. It's like that movie, I don't know, that golfing movie with Bill Murray.
oh,
Hummingbirds have the biggest heart of all birds, and in Mesoamerica they were the symbol for the god of war.
Most aggressive too. Like you do not mess with hummingbirds. They
No,
are
you
they are
don't.
fighters.
and on top of that, they'll go
Take
right
that.
to your face.
Hmm
That's
Wow.
what they did to my dad.
Yeah, they are fighters. There's a reason why they made them the
They're like
bird.
woodpeckers.
No, they're
More
worse.
vicious.
Yeah.
We had, at the end of summer, before winter started, we had 2 magpies nesting next door. They have the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song, like liquid obsidian. But man, they'll dive bomb you if they think you're close to their nest. Sure, they'll take your head right off.
hmm
Fierce little fellas.
I've always wondered why they call them magpies. I assume that it's like British, so coming from that area.
Yeah, it is.
Magpie,
16th,
yeah, I
17th
guess so.
century or something.
Oh,
Possibly 14th.
Pretty good. Now we get into the insects. We get into the good stuff. This is probably the busiest category in anybody's garden right now. Okay, so we're talking about much more than honeybees too. You may be encountering bumblebees, native solitary bees, hoverflies, lacewings, predatory beetles, dragonflies, damselflies, parasitic wasps, butterflies, and moths. Now, Illinois has approximately 500 species of native bees, according to Illinois Extension. And Illinois Extension's 2026 pollinator work has emphasized that native plants can provide important nectar, pollen, and habitat. When we say beneficial insects, we're talking about an entire workforce. Some are pollinating our flowers, some are eating pests, some are decomposing material, and some are predators that help keep out insect populations or keep them under control.
There is a bulldog honeybee. It rounds up other bees, take it to the hive, and
There was a question I wanted to ask you, Robert. How many different kinds of insects can you find in one garden if you actually stop and look?
as long as it's not been sprayed by chemical, you can probably find about 20.
What do you guys think? You think he's right?
I think 20 is a little
I
low.
would say more like, yeah,
I
50,
don't
60.
know.
Depends on location, of course.
But yeah, but if you disrupt
In
the
Britain,
yard
probably
with
150
chemicals,
Mm-hmm. Well, Illinois.
What size yard are we talking about?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's 20 either. I think it's probably a lot more than that.
Yeah,
Now-
yeah, I'm thinking of as far as Britain's concerned, 50. 60.
Thousands. According to the LLM, a healthy garden can host thousands of individual insects across hundreds of species, ranging from microscopic soil dwellers to flying pollinators.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say I've
Exact.
seen the biggest
Carry on.
honeybee in the world. Well, in my life, I want to say about 4 weeks ago. I mean, this thing was fat. I currently have also the biggest beetle I've ever seen in the world. This is like the size of a $50. On my living room table right now. It's not alive, but I decided I want to preserve it because it's gigantic.
Get you a mason jar.
Yeah, but insects. I'm so happy because I hate mosquitoes. Mosquitoes typically don't bother me if they are around, but I haven't seen a single mosquito since I've been here all summer.
You're lucky. You are lucky.
Do you have ladybugs up where you are?
Who, me?
Where I
Yeah, you.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have it.
I've not seen any.
Yeah, we have 'em. No, I haven't seen them since I'd say about maybe 2-3 years ago.
Oh,
But they were here before. We used to have them literally everywhere. You go out in the morning and they would be just stuck to the wheelbarrow, all
wow.
hugging together and stuff. It was pretty interesting. That was when they first would appear in the year during the springtime.
well,
Oh, yeah.
What I was referring to, guys, it says in a grocery, when you plant garden, do not use pesticide because good insects that requires to keep the insect population down. And if you implement that the insect repellent, you disrupt the balance in the garden.
Of course.
That's yeah.
No,
Now,
I was to say back in Poland when I at my house in Poland, thousands. What's about ladybugs? Thousands. Like every day, I was sweeping off ladybugs off my windowsills. By the end of the year, it's like by the thousands.
mhm.
But
Okay.
it's just very magical up there, though. It's you see things floating in the air. It's like something like out of a fairy tale book or something. There's so many glittery things that fly around the air, little swirly puffballs, and beetles, and yeah. I don't know.
So now that we've covered that, let's get into native plants, okay? So here in Illinois DNR explains that native plants developed alongside native pollinators, and their blooming periods, flower shapes, and other characteristics can correspond with the activity and needs of local pollinators. The Illinois DNR also maintains a large list of native Illinois plants that provide food and shelter for wildlife. Some particularly useful Illinois natives for pollinators include purple coneflowers, black-eyed Susans, milkweed, blazing star, bee balm, asters, joe pie weed, and native sunflowers. Illinois Extension's current pollinator guidance specifically highlights purple coneflower butterfly weed, and other native plants for supporting pollinators through summer. And that brings us basically to the end of native plants, because we've already talked about butterflies, bees, birds, and beneficial insects. We can't really separate them from the plants they're depending on, so that's the reason why I brought up the native plants. So, because a native plant isn't simply something that happens to grow here. It's part of a much older relationship between the plant, the soil, insects, birds, and the rest of the ecosystem. And that will be the end of the first section. So this next one is the Nature Watch connection. So I'm gonna say something cool here, and then we are going to move on to the main topic. You guys ready for that?
Yes.
Okay, so when we learn from Nature Watch what we learned from Nature Watch this week: the butterflies are still working the flowers, while monarchs are beginning to become part of the conversation. The fireflies are winding down their summer displays, but their larvae are still working beneath the surface. Mushrooms are reminding us that decomposition never stops. Birds are beginning to change as migrations get underway. Beneficial insects are still working the garden, and native plants are providing the habitat that makes much of this possible. And that's the thing about nature. Nothing really happens by itself. The flowers feed the insects move the pollens, the plant feeds the bird, the fallen leaves feed the soil feeds the plants. Everything is connected. So now we go into the main topic. And the first part is what we left off from last week that we really couldn't get into, and that is fertilizer. Feeding the plant responsibly, basically. Now, fertilizers provide nutrient plants need. Okay, commonly including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, along with secondary and micronutrients. Every time it has micro on it, I have a hard time saying it, but along with secondary and micronutrients. But this is something that's very important, okay? Fertilizer isn't automatically the answer to every plant problem. Before adding fertilizer, ask yourself, what does the plant actually need? Has the soil been tested? Is the soil pH appropriate? Is the plant receiving enough water? And are the roots healthy? That could be the problem. It could be that the problem actually is disease, pest, or environmental stress. So the important message here is that fertilizer isn't plant food in the same way we think of food. It's a source of nutrients the plant uses to build itself and carry out its biological process.
Well, I know that firsthand. I've burned up some plants with fertilizer. You can burn them.
Mm-hmm. Too much fertilizer.
So nitrogen, what the nitrogen in the fertilizer is for fast green leafy stem growth. The phosphorus is for your root growth and your vivid flowers. You want your flowers to not be pale, because the brighter they are, the more insects will visit them. And your potassium is protection from cold and disease. So, interesting little...
Good stuff. And remember too that too much fertilizer can also cause problems rather than solve them. So sometimes overdoing the fertilizer is an issue as well.
Absolutely, because it can suck the nutrients out of the soil. If you disturb the pH balance, you can get the flow, instead of happening from the soil into the plant will start losing its nutrients into the soil, which is a very bizarre backwards cycle that mankind can induce.
Yeah. A question I got for you guys is, where does fertilizer go?
Where does it go?
Mm-hmm. Fertilizer doesn't go like straight from the bag to the plant. Where does it go? Nobody knows.
Into the soil? Into the organic material? Into the water?
Now, when we put fertilizer into the garden, we're not putting plant food directly into the plant. We're putting nutrients into the soil system.
Right.
From there, those nutrients interact with like soil particles, water, organic matter, microorganisms, roots, soil pH, temperature. The plant ultimately has to obtain the nutrients through its root system. So, Robert, I have a good question for you. When we put fertilizer on the garden, where does it actually go before the plant gets to use it?
Well, it absorbs up into the soil, and then when it starts breaking down, it goes to the heart of the root, to where it could be processed. And you have to watch out too when you look at what's in the fertilizer. There's some soil, like if you buy prepped soil already in the bag, you have to watch out. Make sure you don't get too much of one thing in it.
Okay. Now, I'm going to clarify something because we cleared it up in the last episode. When Robert says the heart of the plant, it's not technically called the heart of the plant. He's always referred to it as that. I forgot what it was. Do you remember what the actual name was, Bob Dub?
I don't actually remember. Yeah, we did talk about it, but I've forgotten now.
But yeah, it.
But I think that what we said was that it's on the tips of the roots, actually. The heart is not the center like in a human. Mm-hmm. It's on the very tip of the root system.
Yeah.
I think.
I remembered whenever you guys were talking about it, like if you go to transplant a plant, try to move it out of the ground, that's the reason why you have to be real careful, because if you puncture that, you'll kill a plant.
Yeah, because my mom would tell me in the center of the plant, there's some plants have a big heart. Well, it's a main big piece of it. And if you just rest it or pop it, it will die.
Well, let me also point something else out, and this actually goes into where we need to be going, because the one thing that I think people need to realize is soil is more than dirt. Okay, you mentioned soil earlier. Now, soil is like a living system, you know what I mean? And it contains minerals, you have organic matter, and again, you have the water and the air and the microorganisms. You've got to also take the fungi into consideration. There's bacteria, and that's also, and believe it or not, insects and other organisms, all of that goes into what you would consider soil. You know what I mean? Because you got to remember, those insects get real microscopic. They get small. So they're even in there too. And when people buy bagged soil, that's something that you also have to be aware of too, because if you pay more attention, you'll start noticing that if you're getting into the videos. The one thing I do agree with a lot of these videos about is they they're real cautious about who they buy their fertilizer and soil from, because if you get it from overseas, you'll find like foreign contaminants when it comes to insects in them, or larvae from freaking bugs that you have from like India or the Ukraine or some country, you know, that's being where they're getting this fertilizers from, and they'll be introduced into your soil. So be careful when you buy fertilizer and soil from the store. Make sure that it's not contaminated. And you can usually see it when you open the bag. So that's all I wanted to add on that one.
Usually, in nature, without the intervention of man, the nutrients come from decaying plant matter. So there's no nutrients in the actual rock. There are chemicals in the rocks, but the plants can't get the chemicals out of the rock part of the soil. All the nutrients that it gets is from compost, old, dead plant material. So why we add fertilizer is because we've learned to grow plants anywhere in the world. So, sorry?
I was just going to say, you can use volcano rock as growing too, and you can use an eggshell to grow.
Crushed eggshells, I've heard of that, and I think the only reason why Robert is mentioning volcano rock is he's gonna see if you're gonna like go out and get beach sand for him, Bob Dub. So be careful. Robert's got a plan, so he found out you have a volcano just down the road. So.
Well, I've seen in New Mexico the vines would climb on top of the lava rock and implant the roots up inside of it and actually grow. And you can use it too for a water filter.
Okay, so
Interesting.
let me get through this. Now, with the Illinois Extension, they describe soil as a dynamic substance containing mineral, organic matter, insects, fungi, and microbes. That means when we're talking about fertilizer transfer, we're really talking about nutrients entering an ecosystem. Now, this brings us to water. Now, water is the transportation system when it comes to all this stuff. Water is extremely important to nutrient movement. Roots don't simply reach into the soil and grab dry particles of fertilizer. Nutrients have to become available in forms the plant can take up, and water is a very important part of that when it comes to that process. This also explains why watering and fertilizing can't really be considered separate subjects either. Too little water can interfere with the nutrients uptake, but excessive water can create another problem. Nutrients can move beyond the root zone or eventually leave the garden altogether. That's kind of what you were getting into with when you were talking about and people need to take the root zone into consideration when it comes to gardening.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, here's the question. When it comes to a plant, does it have its own thermostat where when it knows when to take so much water, or where
That's not basically how it works. Like a plant doesn't have like a thermostat on it, Robert. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not saying, well, it's this temperature, I take this, I take that. Like I mean, it's like eating, you know what I mean? But what kind of, like I was saying before, it's not actually like food that we think of when it comes to food. You know, so I mean, now root
Yeah.
zones, what I'm
Well-
talking about there, that's important.
Yeah, but I was
Yes.
trying to say about when it
No,
gets
well, hold
dry.
on, let me finish this so that you can, and pay attention because this stuff is important, okay? Now, when it comes to root zones, here's a concept that I think you and even the viewers would almost immediately understand, okay? Now, the root zone is the plant's feeding area, okay? That's where the roots are. That's where the roots are and where they determine where the plant can access, you know, water, nutrients, and oxygen, things of that nature. So that's the area that determines that. And you have to know that. All right. So that's why soil structure matters. You have organic matter that can improve soil structure and help roots move through the soil while also helping the soil retain water. Now, if the roots can't reach it, does it really matter how much fertilizer is sitting somewhere else in the garden?
Hmm,
You see,
exactly.
that's what it really comes down to. It's not about thermostats or anything else. It's about placing this stuff in the right place. You have to freaking know what your root zone is.
Yes.
Okay.
And the root zone usually ends where the leaves end. So if you look at the plant, you know, the bushy plant, where the edge of the plant is very often, there are exceptions, but very, very often underneath the roots go spread out as far as the branches spread out above.
Absolutely, it kind of looks like a magnetic field, like you know how you get the arch on the top and the arch on the bottom when you introduce magnets
Yes.
to like filings. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a magnetic field.
Now, have you guys ever heard of the CEC, cation exchange capacity?
No,
No.
that'll be interesting to hear about.
Now I'm going to be careful with this because this is the extremely technical stuff that Mark Edworthy warned me about. So I'm going to try to tread with light feet on this one so that we don't get too technical. Because it is. I mean, and this is where most of the people who are into gardening, they really enjoy this kind of stuff. So I'm just going to kind of put it out there. The CEC stands for cation exchange capacity, and it describes the soil's ability to hold certain positively charged nutrients and make them available for exchange with plant roots. Organic matter and clay minerals contribute significantly to a soil's CEC. Now this. Think of the soil as like a warehouse, all right? Now, some soils have a much greater ability to hold onto like nutrients than what others do. Now, that leads naturally into why does the same amount of fertilizer behave differently in different soils, okay?
Mhm.
And that brings you to organic matter. And that's the soil's storage system, basically. That's where you get into it, the soil's storage system. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of the discussion because, like, adding compost or other appropriate organic matter isn't like simply adding fertilizer, okay? Now, organic matter can be improved soil structure, or it can improve soil structure. It can help retain water. It can help retain nutrients, provide material and microorganism breakdown. It also contributes to nutrient cycling. So The Illinois Extension notes that decomposition of organic matter can make nitrogen available for plant use. So instead of thinking fertilizer equals nutrients, you can introduce soil, organic matter, and microorganisms, which equal nutrient cycling. Does that any of that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
It's cation. Cation exchange capacity. Cations are the positively charged atoms that you've got in there. So it's the positively charged atoms of calcium, magnesium, and potassium that have to move into the plant. And when your soil, the particles of your soil, like a sandy soil, when they're very big, the little gaps between them are too big to hold the water. Or when they're very small, like in a clay, the gaps between them are so small that the water can't get in. And the reason for the organic material, why the organic material is so important, is that it sits in between the particles. That's either too small or too big, and it makes this place in between the actual rock particles where the growing can happen.
Yeah, a lot of that is related to a lot of electrical and bioelectrical systems. So I forgot to charge up my phone. When are we starting quantum gathering?
Oh, hold on! Don't be mentioning that in the middle of a recording.
Well, I
know. I'm trying to. I'm bringing it to an end right now. So.
I'm gonna need to let my phone charge for a few minutes.
Okay, I appreciate.
All right.
Okay, so we actually are coming up to 57 minutes on the show, and we've got to keep this down to an hour because we have a schedule going and everything. I really do appreciate everybody coming in. Now, after this, when we come back, I do want to continue this as a conversation. I want to talk about nitrogen, I'm sorry. We're also going to be talking about microbial workforces and stuff of that nature. We just finished up on organic matter, and we've gotten into cation, I call it cation, exchange capacity. That's the difference between that true British accent and Americanisms. Is colloquial. American colloquialism is the way Mark Edworthy says it. So we're getting into we're really getting into the soil and everything, and actually getting to where we need to be. So I do enjoy this. And like before, I want to mention our showcase. You know, if anybody has any gardening videos, video clips, gardening pictures, or any audio feed that you wish to share, send them to us, and we would be more than happy to put them on the show and let people watch them. So we welcome everybody on the panel as well. Mark, especially, you were over there in Devonshire. I know you got gardens over there. So if you ever
actually, my garden is not good. My garden is not good at all.
Yet, Mark. Yet.
Well, I know a person. He's in Australia. He has a big old metal farm.
Awesome.
A big old farm. He uses some metal containers to grow.
Okay. So before we get going anymore, we're going to have to shut Robert down before he starts getting all crazy. He last time he started talking about crop circles and stuff. So we gotta end the show.
He was just scarred for life. Roger.
I am. He just.
For life. Yeah, that was too much for you.
So before we end, Bob Dub, would you like to give your socials so people can know how to contact you if they want to talk to you?
Thank you, Roger. I'm in the Swarm space on Lovable.app, and I am on Minds.com. Both places I'm Bob Dub. Thank you.
How about you, Mark Edworthy? How can people get in touch with you?
Okay. Only really through minds.com, username Medworthy.
Okay, now Robert has his own channel, which is on YouTube. It's Robert Hanson, short and simple. You can find me on, or you can find both of us on minds.com at my account, Roger_Hanson, or you can find me and him on X. You can reach us on X, Roger Hanson at ROGLOL1973. I do have a community on Teams. It's Roger's Hangout, as well as chat on Element Matrix, which is Roger's Hangout as well. You can also find me on the Infinite Imaginarium and the Quantum Gathering on Element Matrix as well. So thank you guys for watching. If you please like, subscribe, share, make a comment in the comment section, and we will respond to you. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you later.